니바 당보 보면 니바 상황들 왕제 되더니 사자지 보고 남들 이제 똑같이 보고 똑같이 보고 나와 이제 삼체 남들 봐지 이제 다 남당 제외 사람들이 다 통은 제외 이제 라바제 이제 로요래 들이지 다 니바 상황나지 되니各国人那么变完种内容就做不个西吧嘞，个人年龄起来了民这吧，这个个村人，古人家家那个阿妈婆嘞，或者嘛婆，妈咪怎么到了，从起来了民这吧听，我个，准备我找东或者变送，一米的这呗，没被。没把谁吧，我没把谁吧，咋当？从这些人看上个，从这些人从这些人哪怕特别得的，这样他们就好就做别嘛就呢，这看上个人你是看着嘛，而且呗，两百就会。대외 자다고 저기 자와 세상 제바 진상 자대 조를 거에 따리나서 주 지스 자고 미셔 까마상셈 데티랑 진도 가상네 밥 특별히 로치바 아홍거 신기라바 대 제땡의 노에 와고 탑에 더바조jes.
So now, first we have received the form empowerment. Next we will receive the, secondly, the secret empowerment. There are 4 main empowerments, usually, and the 4 empowerments are also connected to the 4 yogas of Mahamudra, or also the 4 appearances of Dzogchen. And generally, all the stages of the path of practice are divided into a basis, a path, and a result. And these actually also correspond with those 4 levels of empowerment. And so now is the secret empowerment, which is the second empowerment, and it says in the text, see the Vajra master who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the Sambhogakaya Padmasambhava. The place of conferring the empowerment is your throat. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From a red arm on the Guru's tongue emanates red light, twinkling like the tip of a butter lamp flame, which dissolves into your throat. Imagine that your speech becomes indivisible from the heard yet empty speech of Padmasambhava. This is the essence represented by the material form of the Amrita in the skull cup. The Amrita transforms into the Mandala Lord Guru Padmasambhava's Khatvanga staff, representing his consort, the wisdom Dakini. The sounds of bliss and light emerging from their union invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who enter the consort's mouth, and passing through the channels and places, they melt into nectar through the fire of passion. As the nectar descends, it leaves through the consort's secret space womb and merges into one with the nectar contained in the Kapala, and becomes consecrated by the syllables Amahung. When your tongue experiences its taste, think that you receive empowerment.
Pola sobroti kamtama di sanchok sim deri dera tamar sanchok sim ko sawa chene dera chakwa dang timba niji dang deri ko cha ro yore deri ma dog somte tabok la deri ni mo ba yete tabok to deri mo dang simman deri ne ka deri dikye se deri ko sawa cha no re 제가 세계를 납지 사지가 거를 보지 상승지 가리 대게 동대 상세가 동대 난 동대 나 동서 조제 나의 치탁지 뭐다 제만 맞아가 돈이가 동죠 돈이지 니지 메봐 나지 니지 메봐 야베니 가가요 말이 예를 들면 나는 뭐다 똥부 차셔올래 대화체 뭐요리 그리고 그것도 치마들 동행이 저리 별게 sem나 누구 치마 나도 저들이 초와 빼니 봐요리 같이 라시아 작그 요리 데이터를 초와 쪽으로 세부 초와 들이 셀류가 셀레세는 그때 우보 치마 말은 나도 또 보더라 속서는 그 돈이 내와치 뭐지 나는 우보한테 다 보만 거 삼아 깨는 거 돈이라 저 싹동이 줘서 우리 우보 치마면 얘가 제일 나도 싹 치바때 진짜다 뭐 감대와 좀 들었더니 짜롱냐미 있잖아 그러니까는 다지 이메라 돈이지 저마타지 대화치 뭐는 저마똥도 그러지 이메라 차를 때 싹동 대동이 시송 세지 랍치바데 돈이시 니지메라 이 시송 이 대상왕송 들이다 고자야들이 고려야 연구 상생감한테 랑 상생은 비우나 그랑 상생들 잡과도 지만 매바거든요. 인지 매바가 따르는 것들이 돈을 받도 그거 이제 돈이 또 내가 성성 거리 첩하고 걸로 돈이 여서를 노조가 걸로 여서를 인속가 걸로 이 여서를 넣고 요때 값은 데들이 디젤이 다 농도가 가고 내도 못 되네. 그때가도 세군대로 이메바 하고는 우리 따라는 줄도 그래. 니디 샤르트 이제 잡아다니지만 나 피치서서 서적하는 낭세디 되고자 빈신을 잡아시 맞침부 제로도나 내 무엇보다 재미를 잡아도 되리 생각되리 예를 들어 상황성 무엇보다 재미지 나와든지 또만이라 저는 대통령제 대화요 봐라 또마 또 봐지
So in the we just read this visualization. So it spoke about the blessing, becoming blessed or consecrated by the Bodhichitta drop. And so this Bodhichitta drop, it refers to the refined subtle essence that is present within all of our bodies. And so on the mind level, all sentient beings, the refined essence of all beings is their Buddha nature. And then on the subtle body level, it is the seed that on an ordinary level, in a samsaric sense, the seed that proliferates, perpetuates samsara. So it is the seed whereby now when the seeds of male and female merge, then that is what makes a child, and that is what perpetuates family lineages. So children are born, a family line is born. So when we speak about the Bodhichitta drop, actually this is the same one and the same drop. That's actually the Bodhichitta drop. It's that seed that makes a child. So when we see that Bodhichitta drop in an ordinary way, then that Bodhichitta drop itself becomes the cause of perpetuating samsara. So the seed is used for a samsaric activity, meaning that it is used from the perspective of a dualistic perception. So people see each other in a dualistic way. And so when people then unite with one another with an ordinary state of mind, a mind that is attached and clings to the other person and also sees the other person as separate, then such a union, through this union of seeds, then samsara actually perpetuate and it will only get worse and worse. And that is because it becomes connected to a mind of ignorance. Actually, the four main afflictive emotions are all supported by ignorance. They're all connected by ignorance. So basically, ignorance is the underlying basis. And then through ignorance and attachment, then the union becomes a real thing. So one then thinks that this is actually true, this is happening. And then as a result of that, temporarily, we create a solid existence, solidity. we create samsara. And so here in this context, the consecrated seed is the Bodhichitta seed of Guru Rinpoche, which is the union of emptiness and appearance emptiness. And it is the refined, the pure essence, because it is still the same essence, but it is the refined essence because here you realize that while things appear, they do not actually inherently exist. So they appear, but they are empty. So in that union, there is no dualistic grasping at self and other. In this union, one knows there is no real separation between self and other. One realizes that the very essence of the appearance is emptiness. So it is appearance entering into emptiness, and that generates an experience of great bliss. And if one clings to the true existence of that bliss, it becomes the cause of suffering. And it's something you can see in your own mind. When a certain thought arises in your mind and you really cling to that thought, you think that this is real, this is how it is, this is a very bad feeling. You know this is a very bad and very negative feeling. And some people even commit suicide because of these feelings. And actually, you can recognize the essence of what is being said here by just looking at these kind of feelings. Just look at these feelings without looking at your body, associating them with your body. Just look at the feeling and don't grasp at that feeling as real. And this is then how actually ultimately appearance enters emptiness, and through this union, then an experience of great bliss arises. So first, during the vase empowerment of the generation stage, everything has been transformed into emptiness, like appearing emptiness that lacks inherent existence. And so here in the secret empowerment, this is consecrated by this appearance is consecrated by the Bodhichitta drop, whose essence is great bliss. For example, those who practice the Tsalung, the channels, winds, and the drops, they are taught to practice with their channels, winds, and drops, and through the union that generates great bliss, but without any dualistic grasping as self and other. So emptiness means that there is no dualistic thought within your mind. And when there is no dualistic thought within your mind, great bliss arises. No dualistic thought in the mind is what we also call the primordial awareness of bliss, emptiness. So that is the secret, the essence of the secret empowerment. And for the visualization, we visualize how Guru Rinpoche and consort are in union, and how their white and red Bodhichitta drops merge and then melt with the Amrita, which we then taste. And what that represents is a union of great bliss without attachment, without clinging. When there is no clinging in the mind, then one is actually resting in the view. Then one actually realizes emptiness. There are three occasions when we come to the natural state of the mind. There are three basically occasions where we can realize emptiness. And one is when we die and the consciousness transfers, we come to the natural state. The second is when we are in sexual union. That is also when we come to the natural state. And the third one is when we are in the deep sleep state. Then we also come to the natural state of the mind. And so here, this empowerment is related to the sexual union, where we are introduced to the empty nature of bliss. And when you see the empty nature of bliss, you come to the natural state of the mind. Then the union, the sexual union, becomes the so-called view. It turns into the realization of the mind. And so that is, if it is based on a view or a state of mind that is free from attachment and duality. If there is duality, if you see each other in a dualistic way, then there will be clinging and attachment. There will be a mutual ownership. and a focus on the other's body. And then this attachment grows stronger, and then that perpetuates samsara. Then that increases our thoughts of a concrete, true existence. And so here we are kind of dissolving this through the consecration. So consecrating with the Bodhichitta drops. So that's the secret empowerment. And so during the second secret empowerment, all of our grasping, our perception at a concrete, true existence, the existence of the true existence of bliss, becomes emptiness. And so in this way, we realized the nature of emptiness, or the empty nature of bliss.
대다 상위 왕 독마가 좀마다 사고발 걸로르 노 대버 롱고도 먹어봐진다 저 람드서 저런 안어요가 때 랑시길 나바고말라 와와와오스 인더트니 다타동나 송고왕의 다타동 하빈 오베다가 마서도 되나 데라 대파당 니게라 마저고 진장요마에 야 탐마버 책도 장 비서버리지는 나자지 그래 치앙베도 깨야된 창이 좋은 남산 고소를 때 자동 지지제 또 봐도 돼요래 나 다동 지나더니 나 뭐지 맞아봐 되지 맞아봐 매일 속에 좀 다른 습관이나 주로 또 빠지를 가지요 매 빠지는 두개요 말이지 자동 지지제 또 봐면 되려더니 나 다동지 자동 지지제 또 봐면 거기다 지나더니 좀 니보시는 그냥 내가 매번 가는 습관이 빠지나 내가 다동 것도 다 또요래 진짜 잘 맞은 송들이 잘 맞은 송
You have received the secret empowerment. The obscurations of your speech are purified. You will attain the 9th bhumi called perfect intelligence. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the Sambhogakaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice the Anu Yoga completion stage and consecrating yourself. And so the empowerment, the secret empowerment, is also referred to as the speech empowerment. So it purifies the grasping at speech. You realize the empty nature of sound, and all sound having the nature of mantra, of the Amahum Benze Guru Yamasiri Hung mantra. But then, now this is the divine speech that purifies our karmic imprint of ordinary speech. But then ordinary speech usually is not driven by faith and compassion. Ordinary speech is what actually creates more imprints. For example, when someone tells you you're so great, then immediately you will feel very prideful. But then when somebody tells you you're wrong, you're bad, then immediately you get really angry. And so that is because there are these thoughts as these grasping thoughts of associating your own ideas about something. You're conflating your own ideas with what's actually happening. And so these thoughts are being purified, these fixations are being purified. And you realize the empty nature of sound. And so from that perspective, when someone insults you, for example, you, first of all, would not believe that that person is even real, the one who is speaking. You would understand that this person is just a physical body appearing like an illusion, and this compound of a body does not actually inherently exist. And then the words that that person speaks also do not exist. They are completely empty. They're nowhere. And therefore, there is no need to be happy about being praised or upset about when being blamed. And so in this way, by releasing the fixation to sound, you're purifying these concepts that conflate your ideas with the actual thing, what is happening. So you realize the union of sound and emptiness. And then when you are in such a meditative state where you perceive all sounds as empty of self-nature, then no sound will affect you in one or the other way. Whether it is a pleasant or unpleasant sound, it will all become the same. So that is when you realize the empty nature of sound. And so all of this can be summarized into the instruction of do not grasp at sounds. And then also we said here at the end, so you're empowered to practice the consecrating yourself. So what that means is, so when you practice, through the practice of the channels, winds, and the drops, you recognize the inherent qualities of the Bodhichitta drop, that the qualities are present within your own subtle body, and that it is through the subtle Bodhichitta drop present within your own body that you can attain the state of enlightenment. So if this knowledge, knowing, becoming aware of your own qualities, that is the meaning of consecrating yourself. So consecrating yourself means that you understand that you yourself possess this subtle Bodhichitta drop, and you understand the qualities that come from the Bodhichitta drop. So then next we come to the third knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. See the vajra master who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the unelaborated Dharmakaya, Padmasambhava. The place of conferring the empowerment is your heart. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From a blue hung at the Guru's heart emanates blue light like smoke coming from a burning incense stick. As it dissolves into your heart, imagine that your mind becomes indivisible from the clear yet empty mind of Padmasambhava. This is the essence which is represented by perceiving the Khatvanga as the wisdom Dakini and fully arousing the 4 levels of supreme passion. Thus think that you receive the empowerment of experiencing the 4 joys of descending flow and ascending stabilization.
是过去的这些大的什么上界东西叫不能做就是不去，什么龙阳上金把红啊红，他个红红这他个红红这把我这不认得把大个的什了，你们他谁也忘错。 sa tong gong pe ma jun le to yo wang to yo a hong be da ge pe ma se de hong ji da be gen za hong ne de da to go hong de da zhou de ni da da hong xi wa de no to kang yi na no to sha wo de hong gong na hong de ge no to de 说什么都做让你一错人我有嘞 그렇게 토크왕마데 홍제 돈이거나 이제 그래서 홍역도 룸에 공대는 이게 그 이제 소를 봐 라서 내용고요래 동대송발에 다른 그 홍영 룸에 공야데 로마트적 방식만 보여 뒤쪽에 홍 대들이다데 왕 이제는 이 인유대 계정데 인식을 봐서 들이다다 야병그 다른 거 되어라더니 인유대 계정 다다 대리 랑그 탑된지랑 네랑그 무엇했더니 랑그 탑된지랑 띵바탑 랑그 바트니랑 그 차가 들이지는 대신에서 너나더니 가이제 타토 가지 때문에 선돈이 때문에 그거를 니스 매번 싫어 정말 때뭐 마시더니 양 이진 char로요래지 너는 홍대에서 가 니스 매번 이시가 다들이 그러면서 홍대래지 가탄들 때서 거서고 다니 홍대 거서고 다니 차지열에 이렇게 거서고 하지 나서
And so here, during this empowerment, we are consecrating others. And so here mainly the focus is the visualization is on the Hung syllable representing the enlightened mind. And the Hung, those of you who are familiar with the Hung practice know that whenever a thought arises, an emotion arises, whatever arises in the mind, if you only meditate on the Hung has the power to destroy all these thoughts and feelings. And upon destructions, you come to the natural state on your own, just by the Hung having destroyed all these thoughts and feelings. That is the real mind empowerment. It is represented by the Hung, whose nature is emptiness. And also, you're familiar with the visualization of the Hung in the fire flame. So you can visualize the Hung in a fire flame, thinking that it represents your the ultimate nature of your mind. So by just meditating on the Hung in brief, eventually your awareness will naturally settle in its natural state. So many of the disciples are familiar with the meditation on the Hung. Many of you practice that. So during the next empowerment, then, which actually comes a bit later, we are consecrating or giving bliss to others. And so that is based on the self-consecration in the previous step. So through the union of Yap and Yum, practicing the channels, winds, and drops, bliss is conferred upon the other. But that actually requires stability in the previous step of consecrating yourself. So when stability is reached, then bliss can be conferred upon others. And there are 4 levels of bliss, or 4 levels of joy. And the ultimate level of joy that is realized is the empty nature of the mind. And that is realized when through the union, you merge non-dually completely. So all concepts dissolve into the non-dual primordial awareness, and there's just a state of emptiness. If one doesn't recognize that, if one doesn't recognize bliss in that way, then one will again grasp at a duality and see the other person as separate. So this is what the Hung represents. The Hung represents this non-dual primordial awareness, or the Hung inside of the fire flame. And the Khatvanga, the 3-pointed Khatvanga staff, represents the 3 kayas. And actually the Hung is also an embodiment of the 3 kayas. And it is said that your own intrinsic awareness has the nature of the 3 kayas.
나로 주로 따롱 냠니 집에 가르들이 쌈이 유대 탐지게들이 예담 냠니 집에 가르들이 가이절에 있는더니 남들 제는 봐 모두 제용요래 가이절들이 동태에 진 잡초거들이 다다다 gond음에 봐서 생군대로 토로 때문에 생군대로 코랑을 하시대로라는 걸 들리잖아 gond음에 봐서 내려오랑 시절에 원고는 동 들 왕지바 사다 시라고 왕송
왕송바 말해.
왕송바 시랑
그래, 송바라.
왕송바 안 들어. 그래 왕송바 안 들어. 왕대.
Yeah. So
세왕리 왕지바 세왕을 다 세왕리 시라고 왕 나이 루마가 왕 받쳐지 왕이다를 루마 잘 되게요라 뒤따로 가상 이상한 다다 탑let이 되게요래 왕이다를 루마스 되게요래
So we are, so then it says, you have received the knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. The obscurations of your mind are purified. You will attain the 10th bhumi called Dharma cloud. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the Dharmakaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice Ati Yoga and the Mandala Circle of Bodhichitta. And so this also is related to the channels, winds, and drops practices of the 6 yogas of Naropa, according to the new tantric system. Also in the new tantric system, for example, whatever yidam deity you practice, in the new tantric system, one is introduced through the 4 yogas of Mahamudra on the basis of the 4 levels of joy. And so ultimately one reaches the level of non-meditation. And that is when all thought, all concepts dissolve into the natural state of the mind and you come to rest in your true nature. And when you rest there naturally, there is no more deliberate meditation. So it's the state of non-meditation. So this is the 3rd empowerment, the wisdom, the knowledge, wisdom empowerment. Normally, during other empowerments, at this point, one is given a consort, which is given in the form of a sign, so an image of a consort is shown. But here, instead of that, the empowerment symbol is the Khatvanga staff. So generally in the secret mantra, we are introduced to the certain meanings on the basis of signs and symbols.
이번에 대양왕 그바불마 비만요를 그성님이 어원이 그 단위지 거기는 내가는데 대화소 내가 제가 그 저는 거를 대화래 거를 대화소 내가네 어제 철라자 소차와서 저랑 그 네 대다다 선배 거 송소요 전에 요도 왕 도발 뭐봐 싸와당 총지제 내가 셔도데 셔도데 달라지는 거 때문에 나도 다시 성적 님이 시 책래 대바 주고 롱오 시발시 보광지바 다도서 도발 세송 잡으면 도도제
So then there's the 4th empowerment. See the Vajra Master who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the Svabhavika Kaya nature of Padmasambhava, in which the 3 Kayas are indivisible. The place of conferring the empowerment are the 5 places, such as your navel. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From the Guru's 5 places, such as the navel, emanates 5-colored light like a rainbow reflected in water. As it dissolves into your 5 places, imagine that you have received the complete empowerment of enlightened body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities. This is the essence which is represented by the symbolic display of a material crystal ball. Thus think that you perfectly receive the fourth empowerment, whereby you recognize the skillful means of sign and meaning, the non-dual unity, and the primordial wisdom beyond the domain of words as Dharmakaya.
Sarva Dharma Abhikenda Seven Nero Japanatri, Rasam Jimmy Kanga Mena, Tela, Tapari, China, Madabara, Numonga, Ramji, Shayong, Shelley Jason Savanya, the Ramji, Shayong, Tela, Nidi Majoda, the Ishigan Jodori, Nidi. Sima shoulder, the young Mong Jonathan Quarto, what they knew so the Hassan so on somebody, they told Terry, shed a bed, or that is said with the rope there, or not so shallow with the garnish with dinner. Some course Shasa shed them or don't money, young Mevana, the Ramji shining with your head. The shout in the Mamajo red.
The nature of the mind is inexpressible beyond words and thoughts. Actually, it is nothing at all. But because we are afflicted, various things appear. Or when we are unafflicted, the five wisdoms appear. There is this unceasing radiance coming from the mind. And so this is represented by the crystal. The crystal from which rainbow lights emerge naturally. So the rainbow lights emerge from the crystal, are part of the crystal. And if one does not regard them as separate from the crystal, or one does not regard appearances as separate from the mind, then the afflictive emotions all transform into the five wisdoms. However, if one does enter into dualistic thinking, seeing appearances as separate from the mind, then temporarily they will manifest as the five afflictions. We mentioned that yesterday during the life force Kila instructions. So this is like the life force of samsara and nirvana, meaning that it all shines forth from it, from this basis. Myriads of appearances shine forth, manifest, and the basis from which they appear is like a crystal ball, completely empty and lucid, and yet giving off a radiance naturally. So appearances naturally appear from the empty crystal. So the key instruction is, do not grasp at the separate existence of all appearances.
Della Tata Chata Jemala Besong Little Septi Jata Jata so Mujin song Tata Lanis Duna Chata now something around the center. Now I sent to Tati Mark Pain de Yokuri. Law Chipan Zabel Casa Sama Logos our Shivioret. Rang sent the Lord and over Chipa Casa Chapti, get them. Some kind of Chinese talent in Toya, you might give out there some song. The theatre, the whole top card is such a chip and jail, Mr. Love the Chilla to you. Some with the little talent, sir, the whole tongues. I don't maybe not about our tongues, dying on tongue. This is our tongue. She bought us all said the don't buy him, but half or the Indona. Namkata, half or the chupa half or. Digang my Tamki, Sapon, some joking on in the Bama, Jata, some Mudin, so Mudisian Koran, Mubor Martin, the Pashak, Rang, Dorte, Chardo, Donna, Chimney.
And Milarepa said, When you think, if you believe that the mind possesses a basis and a root, then when actually it has no basis or root, then you will engage in grasping at a duality, at a concrete existence. Then your meditation becomes a grasping at concrete existence. In the 37 practices, it says, appearances are your own mind. So first we have to realize that whatever appears, what we perceive is our own mind. There's one example that I personally always give, my example, that is, it's just like electricity. Everything in this world, in every country, everything is powered by electricity. We do everything with electricity. And electricity is very similar to the essence of your own mind. It's just like that. We think that there are many different electrical devices, so we think they are different and separate, but really they are all powered by the same electricity. And also electricity is something that we cannot see, it's immaterial. And also it's something that cannot really be located. We can't say that's where it comes from, that's where it abides, that's where it will go to. And so what is a method to see that our mind is just like that? In the Mahamudra teachings it says, without a single thought, look at your mind, look at the ultimate nature of your mind decisively. When you look at your mind, there is nothing to be seen. It is completely empty, just like space. So what you see actually is a complete emptiness. But then it's not just nothing, because there is a clear awareness. You are conscious of your empty nature. You know that this is your empty nature. This is the space-like nature. There's clear awareness of that. And so that is what we call the clarity. And when you realize, when you see, you experience that your mind is just like space, that's actually when you see the Dharmakaya. And then what needs to be done is to continue on within that state without wavering. Within that state, that is a union of clarity and emptiness. This emptiness means there is no grasping. And as long as there is no grasping at anything whatsoever, your mind will not solidify again. It is just when you begin to grasp at thoughts arising, whatever appears, then again you solidify into this concrete reality and again perceive ordinary samsara. If you do not grasp at whatever arises, you will not solidify into this dense existence, and therefore whatever arises will become naturally liberated upon arising. So everything arises on its own and dissolves on its own. That is the nature of the mind. So in the 37 practices it says, appearances are one's own mind. From the beginning, mind's nature is free from the extremes of elaboration. Realizing this, not to engage in the mind in a subject-object duality, is the Bodhisattva's practice. And then also Tilopa said in the Mahamudra teachings, without a single thought, decisively look at your ultimate nature. So decisively means you have to be certain, you have to gain certainty. So you think nothing, and you know clearly, and you decide upon that. And then you have, having received this empowerment, the obscurations of your 3 doors are purified. You will attain the 11th bhumi called total light. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the Svabhavika Kaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice the innermost secret vajra essence of Ati Yoga, the effortless truth of the great perfection, namely the originally pure and spontaneously present primordial wisdom.
Teli khatangdi sopur khatangdi sheta jebata te chawari teli teni Peta takti doti lopo dagu wangam chawan potirung yida takwa dekachi boyo potirung yida chawan drupa te lewan memek tomangang ne pema dama sabdi jita dawe chikola ale chiroke chimba te yoda nyame chikola kala sabji chiba te jita kabjora te yoda hongkar bola ya nyang betago rokowa 대사려 어제는 진짜 보면 제체 동게 동당지 베다거를 당 알리 깔리 넘버 진장 텀버죠.
So what would come next in the empowerment text is the life force kila that we already discussed yesterday during the teachings. And then skipping that, we come to the next empowerment, which is the Vajra Master empowerment, where it says the empowerment is performed by offering an oral transmission of a volume of scripture. The scripture on 100,000 petaled lotus, arisen from the state of emptiness without a reference point, is a moon disc marked with the. There is a moon disc, as on the scripture, there is a moon disc marked with the 16 Sanskrit vowels. Below it is a sun disc marked with the 34 Sanskrit consonants. This is the sealed sphere of sun and moon. At its center is a white hung surrounded by the quintessential Vajraguru mantra. From the mantra and seed syllable radiates light, which gathers all the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, which descend in the form of the Vajra Guru mantra and the Sanskrit vowels and consonants and dissolve into the mantra syllables.
Hong bedagara bima sada hong a e u re le o am a ka ga nga ta nya ta na Papa Maya Lava Shakata Hacha Beda Sato Samaya Manupalaya Beda Sato Telupo Tisha Rome Baba Sotokayo Beba Sopo Chao Mebawa Anarato Mebawa Sava Sete Mepor Yeta Sava Karma Sata Me Tetam Siam Guru Hong Ha Ho Bagai Sava Tata Gata Beda Mami Meta Beda Bama Samaya Sato Ye Dhamma Hetu Trabawa Hetu Taketa Tangeta Hayo Wate Taketa Yo Neroda Ewan Wadima Shamana O Taketa Tinya the Lord to Gidu said Lord Shozi.
Yankee Logore. So Rinpoche said we should read these mantras all together. I don't know. Did we already read them? Again?
Nyedala Akya Beta Gorana Uda Shani Levam de Oma A Hong Sajekuji Sajekuji Pema Jong Sapte Todrop Vino de Leki Namla Drapa Leki Namla Drip shit imi Chang Mao Tong Di Rokun Roa Show Oma Hong Betagora Bima said Home Betagora Bima said Home Betagora Bima said Oh me Dama Hedu Jabba Hedu to get on Nakada Hayo to get the Ewa Dama Yamana Honjo to Javim 생도만은 편도지 월들 마지 통당 진바스기 시기 까디 벌라 류당 점에 류당 점에 처음 저를 생겨 먼저 사람들이 와도 저 엄마 혼자 때는 생각하면가 아베켄도 그래서 아마 아베켄도 이양 선왕상 선왕 그때 송남저 까딘들라 까딘들라 송화다 꺄바다 바바제도 소 다 되면 제대니 다사다 공부 당치라 즉바리 들이 땅치 까자로 제르스리 먼저 출마자 나스니 너무 초성 제바요 되는 왕의 동상제 왕의 공부들이 왕제바 제는 뒤에를 일사다지 까다들이 디 용용용적으로 돼 동다 공주발 들이다 꿈을 초성을 해 내야들이 왕성을 토대를 뒤석이 양이 제네요 그랬다 양장군의 양이 제네요 소소디 가사카니들이 양양자 취득당하셔 조거래 파체대 고조제된 양이 제 조거래 그랬다 왕대는 접성지.
So then after that there are a few additional empowerments which are actually basically in meaning the same. There is an empowerment of the view which is similar to the fourth empowerment and so on. And so they're basically auxiliary empowerments that have the same meaning. But the essential meaning of all the empowerments are all included in the four empowerments that we have gone through. And so an empowerment ritual may be longer, another one may be shorter. And so there are some empowerments that have a more elaborate preliminary section and so on. And so here in this case, there's an elaborate auxiliary an additional section. But basically the meaning is the same. And here again it says that those who are not initiated should not be given one should not reveal the meaning of this empowerment to those not initiated. And then also it says that the empowerment should only be given to those who actually will engage in its practice. And so there is a practice on the Konchok Chidu that one can practice. And with regard to learning more about the practice itself, you can receive different instructions from various teachers. But in any case, you are empowered to engage in the Konchok Chidu sadhana practice, and that completes the empowerment.
노제 대바이 대양 상하제 자원 왕그 자와의 탐색 탐색의 대양 자와의 연하다 기바 상하 망바 제자라다서 라지 못쳐봤다 라면 먹었다 내드는 바 라마 먹을 내드는 바 대양 총지의 고르 꼬마 접탑을 르원남 안다바 맘다와 장치 주바라 조바라 소바 라메 주바라 베사르데사 담체가 차라서 좀 많이 봐 송녀배의 얘기도 어디 담체도 실제 장에 르바스 콜론로나들이 내가 저 담체 기반에도 상쪽 세례 상제들이 슬라이소 상제에 비나 다다라는 대화 차고는 이 인다 단지지 집이 주박이 지보인 송동들이 이렇게 이소로서.
And so then at the end there is the Samaya. So the root Samaya is to cultivate Bodhichitta, cultivate love. Love is the life force of the deity. it's what you need in order to really connect to the deity. And so then, aside from that, it's also good to repeat the deity's mantra, to call the deity's name. And so for the Samaya here, it says, the 4 empowerments and the additional supporting empowerment of the Konchok Chidu have now been properly conferred. The secret mantra is the pinnacle of all dharma. The secret mantra's consummation is the vajra vehicle. Furthermore, the root of secret mantra is empowerment. The root of empowerment is Samaya. The Samaya consists of root and branch Samayas. This is the general Buddhist way of explaining the secret mantrayana. But more specifically, one hits the vital point of secret mantra through its heart essence, that is guru devotion. Symbolic of this, always keep a likeness of the guru or a small volume of the sadhana close to your body without ever separating from it. On the 10th day of the lunar month, be diligent in practicing the guru, such as sparing no effort in making offerings to him, thus intending to keep all coarse and subtle samayas flawlessly. And please repeat the samaya. So the ultimate Samaya really is Bodhichitta. It is said that the 84,000 Dharma teachings are subsumed within Bodhichitta. And what really is Bodhichitta? It is really immeasurable love. And if there is love, then naturally compassion will arise. So that is the actual Samaya that we have to keep. So first, we are still seeing a duality of self and others. And so for as long as we still perceive a duality, what's most important for us is to cultivate an altruistic mind. It is that the perfect Buddhas arise from an altruistic mind. That's really most important, to cultivate an altruistic mind of wishing to benefit others. That's the root of all commitments. And it will lead to the ultimate realization of the mind, because if you develop immeasurable love, self-grasping will diminish. The dualistic perception of self and other will diminish. So it's because of the self that you perceive a duality of self and other. And when you don't think about the self, and you only have love, there's only love and there's no self, and in that moment you just look at your mind, you realize the nature of the mind. You see that there is no delineation between yourself and other. You see that within this moment of love. So that is what we also call the relative bodhicitta, but it's the most important samaya. It is loving kindness. For example, when people who love me, who ask me for a signature to sign something, whenever I sign something, I actually sign with the words jamje, which means loving kindness, or also love or compassion. And this is how I sign actually anything. So bodhicitta is love. And love is just like my own heart. And love is the heart of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. And how you put it into practice is by practicing the 37 Bodhisattva practices. So now I have shared these teachings with you, this empowerment with you to the best of my abilities. Although I do not have much learning, I understand that the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha are all subsumed within Bodhichitta. Don't forget these words and hold on to love. So now we have completed the empowerment. Also, the main Samaya that is related to Guru Rinpoche is to make offerings to Guru Rinpoche on the 10th day of the lunar month, on Guru Rinpoche Day. And that is because he himself had said on this day, he will actually come into this world to benefit beings. So that is why on that particular day of the waxing moon, it is very auspicious to make offerings to him. But actually, it's not like he doesn't come any other time. Of course, he always comes when we supplicate him. But he comes especially on the 10th day of every lunar month. And so on that day, we should make, for example, a feast offering, a Gana Chakra offering of any size. It doesn't have to be large. It can be a longer practice. It can be a medium length practice or a short practice. Whichever practice you decide to do, it is fine. For example, in the Drikung Kagyu lineage, we practice Guru Rinpoche as a Tsewang Tsimba. And the Tsewang Tsimba practice and any Guru Rinpoche practice are one and the same. There's really not the slightest difference. And now we have offered you the Tsewang Tsimba sadhana practice, so you can practice it. Or you can practice any other Guru Rinpoche sadhana, whichever one you like. You practice it on the 10th day of the lunar month. And on that day, you should also make a Tsok offering, a Gana Chakra feast offering. Because today is the auspicious 10th day, we are going to dedicate with the Samanta Bhadra prayer.
Homage to the primordial Buddha, Samanta Bhadra. Oh, everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may all beings become Buddhas, completely perfected in the abode of the Dharmadhatu. The ground of all is uncompounded, and the self-arising great expanse beyond expression has neither this name, samsara, nor nirvana. Realizing just this, you are Buddha. Not realizing this, you are a being wandering in samsara. I pray that all you beings of the three realms may realize the true meaning of the inexpressible ground. I, Kuntunzampo, have realized the truth of this ground, free from cause and condition, which is just this self-arising awareness. It is unstained by outer expressions and inner thought, affirmation, or denial, and is not defiled by the darkness of unmindfulness. Thus, the self-manifesting display is free from defects. I, Kuntunzampo, abide as intrinsic awareness. Even though the three realms were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirable qualities of sense objects. In self-arising consciousness, free of thoughts, there is neither solid form nor the five poisons. In the unceasing clarity of awareness, singular in essence, there yet arises the display of the five wisdoms. From the ripening of these five wisdoms, the five original Buddha families emerge, and through the expanse of their wisdom, the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. Through the arising power of the five wisdoms, the 60 wrathful Herukas manifest. Thus the ground awareness is never mistaken or wrong. I, Kuntunzampo, am the original Buddha of all, and through this prayer of mine, may all you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara realize this self-arising awareness, and may your great wisdom spontaneously increase. My emanations will continuously manifest in billions of unimaginable ways, appearing in forms to help you beings who can be trained. Through my compassionate prayer, may all of you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara escape from the 6 life forms. From the beginning, you beings are deluded because you do not recognize the awareness of the ground. Being thus unmindful of what occurs is delusion, the very state of unawareness and the cause of going astray. From this delusive state comes a sudden fainting away and then a subtle consciousness of wavering fear. From that wavering, there arises a separation of self and the perception of others as enemies. Gradually, the tendency of separation strengthens, and from this, the circle of samsara begins. Then the emotions of the five poisons develop. The actions of these emotions are endless. You beings lack awareness because you are unmindful, and this is the basis of your going astray. Through my prayer, may all you beings recognize your intrinsic awareness. Innate unawareness means unmindfulness and distraction. Imputing unawareness means dualistic thoughts toward self and others. Both kinds of unawareness are the basis for the delusion of all beings. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may all you beings wandering in samsara clear away the dark fog of unmindfulness, clear away the clinging thoughts of duality. May you recognize your own intrinsic awareness. Dualistic thoughts create doubt. From subtle attachment to this dualistic turn of mind, dualistic tendencies become stronger and thicker. Food, wealth, clothes, home, and friends, the five objects of the senses, and your beloved family, all these things cause torment by creating longing and desire. These are all worldly delusions. The activities of grasping and clinging are endless. When the fruition of attachment ripens, you are born as a hungry ghost, tormented by coveting and desiring, miserable, starving, and thirsty. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may all you desirous and lustful beings who have attachments neither reject longing desires nor accept attachment to desires. Let your consciousness relax in its own natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of perfect discernment. When external objects appear, the subtle consciousness of fear will arise. From this fear, the habit of anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, hostility comes, causing violence and murder. When the fruition of this anger ripens, you will suffer in hell by boiling and burning. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, you beings of the 6 realms, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state and achieve the wisdom of clarity. When your mind becomes full of pride, there will arise thoughts of competition and humiliation. As this pride becomes stronger and stronger, you will experience the suffering of quarrels and abuse. When the fruition of this karma ripens, you will be born in the God realms and experience the suffering of change and fall into lower rebirths. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may you beings who develop pride, let your consciousness relax in the natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of equanimity. By increasing the habit of duality, by praising yourself and denigrating others, your competitive mind will lead you to jealousy and fighting, and you will be born in the jealous God realm, where there is much killing and injury. From the result of that killing, you will fall into the hell realm. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, when jealousy and competitive thoughts arise, do not grasp them as enemies. Just relax in ease. Then consciousness can hold its own natural state. May you achieve the wisdom of unobstructed action. By being distracted, careless, and unmindful, you beings will become dull, foggy, and forgetful. By being unconscious and lazy, you will increase your ignorance, and the fruition of this ignorance will be to wander helplessly in the animal realm. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may you beings who have fallen into the dark pit of ignorance shine the light of mindfulness and thereby achieve wisdom free from thought. All you beings of the three realms are actually identical to Buddhas, the ground of all, but your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. The 6 karmic actions are a delusion like a dream. I am the primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. Through Kuntunzampo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in the state of the Dharmadhatu. Aho, hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During a solar or lunar eclipse, during earthquake, or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or New Year, you should visualize Kuntunzampo. And if you pray it loudly so all can hear, then beings of the 3 realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin and will finally achieve enlightenment.
Thank you, long love. Shiba Shiba, come on. Arigato, 谢谢你们，谢谢你们。身体健康。
不是啦，多谢谢。
呀，没。
So we like to thank Rinpoche and all the translator Ina and also GBI, Billy, and help us make this happen. And this weekend we had thousands of people from Zone and YouTube, Facebook, and other websites. So lots of people sent us messages said the teaching was very profound and amazing. Everybody so happy. And today so many people from all over the world. Also many people in China joined the teaching and the empowerment. So we wish Rinpoche long life. Please, Rinpoche, stay in long life and good health. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
다시 되래.
Shiba Shiba, come on.
다시 되래.
다시 되래.
健康长寿.
장사 잘 쉬어.
구창님, 태도야. 다시 달래, rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
구창님.
rinpoche长寿.
다시 달래.
rinpoche长寿. 健康长寿. 长转法轮. 长寿. 健康长寿.
多谢谢。
多谢谢.
다시 달래. 구창님.
Thanks everyone joining us and very happy. Rinpoche see you all. That's wonderful.
Thank you。
谢谢谢谢，多谢谢。
好 deep 了。应该可以走了。
对，好。
谢谢粉姐，谢
谢谢。Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.